one of the things, it was really interesting to me because when all this struck, I was laid up. I had shoulder surgery. And so I had been planning to just stay home for 6 weeks and recover. But, and that was on March 4th when I had the surgery. And within a week, the pandemic started hitting and everyone was locked down. And I kept seeing, like, almost immediately in the news, they kept saying, everyone's a homeschooler now. And I was scratching my head going, what do they mean when they say that? And then sure enough, you know, the very next night, I mean, the late night comedians, around here, they're all, saying, I'm going crazy. My children are driving me crazy. I can't stand, what do I do? And then, of course, a couple of days later, you start seeing the parents, saying, oh, teachers are worth so much more than we pay them. I don't know how they could put up with my child, and it still continues that way. I mean, it's just like people are just generally annoyed and upset that their children are with them for so long. But fortunately, I think that that's just the media making hay out of it. And of course, the schools are, beating the drum like you wouldn't believe here in the States, at least. Of, all the missed learning time, like, the summer slump. Well, they've been complaining about that every year. Children forget what they had over the summer, And then they're worried about, like, the lost learning gains, as if they'll never be able to learn this stuff again in any way, shape, or form. That, it's just lost because they missed that window when there were 7 years, 4 months, or 15 years and 8 months. That's it. They're never going to learn to properly punctuate a sentence, or how to speak Spanish, or how to do a quadratic equation. It's like, this whole idea that we're on this conveyor belt of learning, and only the schools know how it works, and that, if you're not on that conveyor belt, you've missed out, But of course, and I've seen that become what's the word I'm looking for? Internalized by so many parents who feel that, I was just talking to a woman yesterday who said that, but how will our children learn if they're not in school? There's just this belief that children or anybody seems to learn anything unless it's taught to them explicitly in a classroom. And so now we're starting to see the emperor has no clothes on that, but at the same time, people are comfortable with that. Look, this is showing how much the schools provide daycare and how work fills the time allotted. It's like, oh, well, we just can't have the children sit around and play all day. We must build them up, and so, we've done this to the point now where we're obsessed with the idea that a child won't learn to read or write or even learn to socialize unless they're put in this special situation. But fortunately, my initial impression, and I wrote my first blog post in a long time, because I was just so upset, saying, don't let schools scare you. Children are learning all the time, but there's this whole idea that, our children are somehow going to be deficient because they haven't been in school all this time. And yeah, of course they're going to be deficient according to the school schedule. But again, as homeschoolers, we've all learned, especially unschoolers, that if you're not in school, you don't have to be in that schedule, and we all know that if you're in a parochial school, you're on a different learning schedule than someone in public school and alternative schools and so on. But we forget that. We all just think that school is this great equalizer and that everyone's going to learn well. And if not, you go into special needs or remediation, And that's the other thing that really astounds me about the whole situation we're in, is that everyone thinks that there's no way to catch up. Whereas we know from homeschooling, for instance, it's very common for boys to be late readers, they do, when they do learn to read, it doesn't take them years, it takes them months. We could talk more about this whole idea of catching up and scheduled learning, but I've already talked too much.